haven't played base Pokemon Emerald in a while, but this time, instead of doing a normal playthrough with the same old Hoenn native Pokemon, I wanted to shake things up. You see, I've got this neat little device called the GB Operator. Basically, it lets me burn my physical Emerald copy onto my PC, edit my save file with PKHex, and then throw that save right back onto the cartridge. In other words, I can play on my original childhood copy of Emerald, but with any team I want. As a kid, this was a total dream of mine. I used to try to trade eggs back and forth between games just to get different Pokemon into Emerald, but honestly, it was super tedious and never worked the way I wanted. With this setup though, I got to experience Emerald in a completely new way. A way that my younger me would have lost his mind over. To keep things interesting, I set some ground rules. First, to deal with Emerald's level curve, I gave myself a lucky egg. Second, I didn't just throw 6 Pokemon on my team right away. Every few gyms, I'd add a member or two. That way, the playthrough still felt like I was building up a proper squad. By the time I reached Winona, I finally had all 6 ready to go. And since grinding is such a huge drag, especially when you're hatching these mons at level 5, I just genned the new teammates' levels to match the current team's levels whenever I added them. With all that said though, let's get into the team I used, starting with my starter. My starter for this Hoenn run was Lily the Meganium, running a moveset of Razor Leaf, Body Slam, Sunny Day, and Solar Beam. Let me be honest with you guys. Meganium was hands down one of the hardest Pokemon to use on this team. Grass isn't exactly the strongest offensive type in Hoenn. Between the abundance of flying, fire, and poison Pokemon floating around the region, Meganium often struggled to keep up. But I picked it anyway, and that's mostly because of nostalgia. I grew up with Johto, and with Pokemon Legends ZA right around the corner, I really wanted to give Meganium a chance in Hoenn. While it wasn't the star player by any means, it did have a few clutch moments. Lily really pulled her weight on the Hoenn water routes, in the wand battle, and later on against Wallace in the champion fight. Outside of those moments though, yeah, Meganium kind of felt like dead weight. I still had fun using it, and it is always cool flexing a Johto starter in Hoenn. But if I'm being brutally honest, this was one of the weakest links on the team by far. The only Hoenn native Pokemon on my team was Toothy the Sharpedo. And Sharpedo made the early game of Emerald a breeze. Carvanha's typing of water and dark alone gave me great matchups right from the start. I pretty much bodied Roxanne with it, and it helped out amazingly against Cycling Road rivals Combuskin. When it evolved into Sharpedo, it quickly became one of my most reliable teammates. I'll admit, I did bend the rules a little. Carvanha's Emerald Learn set is kind of terrible on the waterfront, so I did gen in Water Pulse early just to make it more usable. To be fair though, the devs technically didn't want you to use Carvanha until after Norman, because you get Surf literally right after that, so I understand why there's no decent water moves via level up. However, Crunch at level 22? Oh, that was something. An 80 base power stab that early is insane. Sharpedo's final moveset was Surf, Ice Beam, Crunch, and Waterfall. And with this set, it pretty much had the best tools in its kit. It destroyed Flannery, it ripped through Tate and Liza, handled Phoebe's Ghost Team, and it even came in clutch against Drake with Ice Beam. Basically, any time I needed something fast and strong, Sharpedo had my back. It wasn't the bulkiest Pokemon ever, but it didn't need to be. It just hit hard, hit fast, and moved on. Next up was Gem the Espeon. I had to have an evolution on this team, and Espeon was the perfect pick. I evolved my Eevee super early so that it could help with Brawly, and that decision paid off. Espeon basically invalidated his entire team. I use Espeon a lot in Johto playthroughs, mostly because it's the easiest psychic option that doesn't involve trading, unlike Alakazam. And in Hoenn, it actually performed decently. Its best moments were definitely against the evil teams. Wiping out all those poison type grunts felt pretty amazing, not gonna lie. The downside though, was its coverage. Espeon's move pool in Emerald isn't great. I ended up running Calm Mind, Flash, Psychic, and Psybeam, which is about as bare bones as you can get. But I guess all you need is Stab Psychic. And to put the icing on the cake, once you've got Calm Mind set up, it can steamroll anything. Espeon carried enough of its weight, and I don't regret the pick at all. Now, at this point in time, you're probably asking, what in the heck did you do against Watson? Well, I genned in a temporary Diglett just for that fight. Then, right after Flannery, I swapped it out for Terra the Nidoking. And honestly, I'm glad I did. Dugtrio would have worked, sure, and I've had multiple attempts where Dugtrio has been an excellent Pokemon, and no matter what playthrough I've had it in. But Nidoking, in this instance, just sounded way more fun. It's got a much deeper move pool, and aesthetically, Nidoking's Emerald sprite just looks amazing. So between those two factors, Nidoking was the pick. It didn't have a ton of spotlight moments, but it was always solid nonetheless. Running Sludge Bomb, Earthquake, Thunderbolt, and Shadow Ball, Nidoking filled in as my team's wildcard coverage mod. Poison Stab was especially nice after the 5th badge, unlike in Fire Red and Leaf Green, where you don't get Sludge Bomb until the postgame. It wasn't the MVP, but it was a reliable, stylish part of the squad, and it was a blast. For my fighting type slot, I went with Kick the Hitmontop. I've already used Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee in tons of other playthroughs, so I wanted to try something different this time. And honestly, I kinda regret it. Don't get me wrong, Intimidate is an incredible ability, and that alone made Hitmontop worth using against Norman. Dropping his Slacking's attack stat and making that fight less terrifying felt incredible. But outside of that, Hitmontop just didn't deliver the way I wanted. Honestly, I kind of cheesed the Norman fight with Dig on Nidoking, so I didn't technically need Hitmontop. Its moveset was Brick Break, High Jump Kick, Rock Smash, and Strength. And yes, I may or may not have genned High Jump Kick in. Offensively, it did its job when I needed fighting coverage, but it wasn't anything spectacular. Looking back, I think Hitmonlee would have been the better pick, and probably would have been way more fun. Hitmontop was average. Just average. Lastly, the crown jewel of the team was Kick the Zapdos. And yeah, I accidentally left it with the same name as Hitmontop because I forgot to change it when I genned it in. Don't judge me. Zapdos was easily the MVP of this run. I added it right before Winona, and it immediately crushed her entire team. From there, it basically became my ace. Every water route in Hoenn, Zapdos just turned them all in the target practice. Juan, destroyed. Wallace, wiped. Mostly. Even the evil teams with their Golbats and other flying types stood no chance. Archie and Maxie's Crobat pretty much got folded. Zapdos is just one of those legendary Pokemon that feels absurd to use in a region it doesn't belong to. Running Thunderbolt, Drill Peck, Thunder, and Fly, it made Hoenn feel like a joke. And honestly, I loved every second of it. So that was my Hoenn with a twist adventure. Using a team of Meganium, Sharpedo, Espeon, Nidoking, and Zapdos gave me a playthrough of Emerald unlike any I've had before. Some Pokemon were better than others. Looking at you, Zapdos. But all in all, I had a blast. And the best part, I'm already doing something similar in Fire Red and Leaf Green, where I'm using Johto and Hoenmons to spice things up. If you'd like to see me cover that team and how it went, definitely let me know in the comment section below. But as always, I want to thank you guys for watching. And with that said, I'll see you guys next time.